a big change. The 180, your life won't be the same. The 180. So I am so thrilled, so excited to have my guest, Miss Jessica Francis Dukes, here with me today. What's up, Jessica?
Hey.
I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit about Jessica. She is from the DMV area. That's DC, Maryland, Virginia, for y'all that don't know. If you don't know now, you know. And originally, specifically from Riverdale, Maryland, which is like right outside DC, like right in like Maryland, DC, like right in the middle. After going to both undergrad and grad school, Jessica racked up a number of credits on the stage, including Booty Candy, Macbeth, King Hedley II, one of my favorite plays by August Wilson, and I loved you in that role. I got to see you.
You did?
Yes, I know, because it was in DC, but I think I was in DC at the same time, and you tore it up. King Hedley II, and by the way, meet Vera Stark. Jessica is an OBIE Award winner and a Delco Award winner, and on the screen, she's been in Marvel's Jessica Jones, New Amsterdam, The Good Wife, and NCIS. And most recently, you may know her as Maya Miller in season 3 of the Emmy-winning show Ozark. We welcome the lovely, wonderful, talented Miss Jessica Francis Dukes. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to have some fun, learn about a 180 in your life. So to get started, we like to play some games, some kind of getting to know you games. And I just made up this game, so I'm excited. We're going to see how it works out. The game is stay put or 180. So it's like, are you going to stay where you are or are you going to turn it around? So you let me know if you're going to stay put or 180. Here's the scenario.
Okay.
A stranger with a bag approaches you. She tells you there's $50,000 in the bag and she's going to give it to you and you can keep it, but you just can't open the bag until she's out of your sight. Do you stay put and hold on to that bag, or do you turn around and give it a 180?
Okay, so I can't open the bag until she leaves.
Right.
But if I can probably see if it's money or not in the bag.
Maybe. I don't know.
But I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead 180.
You going 180? Turn around. I understand. You know, strangers approaching you. I don't know.
I don't know. Tied to something. I don't know what your money's tied to.
Exactly. I mean, especially Ozark. Come on, Maya Miller. Okay. Stay put or 180. You get a text from a number not saved in your phone that says, "I miss you so much. Think of you often. Hope you're well." Do you stay put and respond to the text, or do you 180 and ignore that?
Stay put. Who is this? Your claim. What's your name is? No, yeah. Who is it? Use your words.
Right. That's great. Some people.
Who you are.
Some people just be like, that was meant to, if I don't got you on my phone, there might be a reason.
Hey, you know, it's a lot of people not in our phones.
Right. It's so true. There's a lot of people not in our phones. So let's at least find out who you are.
Right.
Okay. Another one. Stay put or 180. You're outside. There's a bee approaching you. You think it's going for the drink that you have nearby. So you move the drink. But no, the bee is still coming towards you. As it gets closer, do you stay put or 180?
I could have answered this one as soon as you said beat. You will see me run fast. 180. I love you for what you do for our world, but yeah.
You don't play with the bees.
The sting.
Yeah. Are you allergic or you just don't?
I'm terrified of them.
Oh.
I'm allergic in that sense. I will freak out. Not break out. I will freak out.
Oh gosh. Okay. So now these are a couple more questions that are not stay put or 180. They're just fun questions. Okay. What's your favorite breakfast food?
Waffles, bacon, and eggs with fried potatoes.
Okay, okay. Yes, multiple.
One thing.
Breakfast, I think breakfast is my favorite meal. It's just, it
Yes.
can be so warming and refreshing and just, yes. But
That's,
waffles, my,
that's my favorite meal. And it's like, I will have it every day if I could.
uh-huh. My father grew up making waffles because it was so easy. We had a little, like, one of them waffle makers. He'd be like, okay, it's ready. He was so excited. We'd be like, if we said we wanted waffles, because he's like, okay, that's real easy. I'll just do that.
Hmm. Yes.
Uh, do you play a musical instrument? And if not, which instrument would you like to play?
I played oh, it's not over there right now. Oh, it's behind the chair. There's a bass clarinet behind that chair. There's a
Hey,
over there.
wait, what's the second thing?
There's a clarinet right there.
Okay. Oh, I see it.
Also play piano that I would love to get back into.
Wow.
And I've played a couple of other things, but those are the two that have stuck with me.
Wow. So clarinet, you say clarinet and piano?
Yes. I took piano first, and then I started clarinet in like seventh grade, and then did marching band and orchestra and all that stuff. I was full on, full fledged, 24/7 band geek.
Yes. Wow. That's awesome. So, the next time, or whenever Broadway gets back, but that they're looking for the people that can act and sing and play all at once. You
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
That's awesome. You spoke about not being allergic to bees, but I'll ask you this question: are you a cat person or a dog person?
I'm both. I've had a cat and I've had a dog, and I literally just finished fostering a pit bull.
Oh,
Well, I love animals, period. I ride horses. I had birds. I killed my parakeet.
wait. We gonna have to pause there. We gonna have to pause there. Wait. You killed your parakeet? How did you kill your parakeet, Jessica?
What happened was, I was young. The parakeet was the first pet. His name was Ernie. He had a sister. Her name was Irma, but she was stressed. She had a heart attack very early on. And then Ernie was road dog. Ernie hung in there. He went all over the, country with me. He went to summer camp with me.
Wow.
But as far as cleaning his cage one day, I decided to take the quick route, unfortunately, and spray Lysol to take care of the smell. I didn't know, and therefore I killed my bird.
Oh my gosh. You sprayed Lysol. You didn't know.
It makes sense that I was a bird killer and now I'm a bird hunter.
Hey, full circle. Look. Somewhere Ernie is in bird heaven, like, Jessica. Upset.
American flag, put him in a shoebox and buried him.
Oh. Did you all have like a ceremony?
I did. I had my own.
Oh.
I had to be like, I think it was like 9. I had my own ceremony.
Oh, that's be well. Rest in peace, Ernie.
Yes.
We thinking of you and your sister and Irma. Well, thank you. It was a great playing a few games and getting to know you in that way.
Yes.
I wish I had a rest in peace sound effect, but I don't know what that would sound like. It might, you know what? We're just gonna play horns for him. Hey, Ernie, Irma. There we go.
Ernie.
So I've known you for a few years from the theater scene here in New York City. And it's just so exciting when we get to see our friends kind of make that transition from being a big part of the theater community to then landing roles on TV and then getting starring roles on TV shows. So I'm curious, I know that during your run as Vera Stark, and by the way, meet Vera Stark. Yes, you were excellent in that. But apparently the casting director of Ozark attended. So what was the process going from that moment of being like, oh, somebody from Ozark is in the house, to you auditioning and then booking the role? What was that process like?
Well, I don't necessarily 100% know what the process was on her side of things. I love everything that she casts. I've been in for her maybe once or twice. But but I knew she cast Ozark, but mainly I knew she cast a lot of things. Really wanted to get in her eyes. So she was actually on a list of casting directors that I wanted to invite to the show. So I actually invited her. And
hey, well, pause real fast. She invited the casting director. So I just, that's a note to acknowledge, because sometimes people expect, like, I got in the show, people just need to come see me. I'm not going to put any more effort into it, but you were intentional about inviting that casting director. So that's great.
All my friends, like at that time, I was like, I love y'all, but I have no comps. All these comps are for these casting directors, due to where I was at the time in New York, and still considering myself to be sort of new to the New York casting directors. And I was just like, this is an opportunity with this role. Lynn wrote such an amazing quilt of a woman that I had so much fun playing, and I felt it sort of introduced people to me in a way that they hadn't been introduced before. And I felt that as many casting directors as I could get in the seats, I tried, and I, would just, my agents were wonderful, and they were just sending emails and like, here are the reviews, go see it if you can. And luckily, closing week, Alexa Vogel asked my agent, was like, yeah, sure, I'll take her up on one of those tickets. And Ozark and all those things that she directed or casted. And I think it was like maybe 2 weeks later, she called me in for Ozark, and I was like, okay, she cast, but this is one of my favorite shows. So I was just like, here we go. Yeah, so that was that journey.
And then in terms of the audition, did you, especially High Stakes is one of your favorite shows. How did you prepare, or what was that process like of preparing and then getting in the room and ideally feeling good after you left, but you never know. Sometimes, what was that process like?
I binged again. I'd already binged. I was so familiar with the actors. Laura Linney is one of my favorite actors ever. I've seen everything she's done repeatedly. Sometimes just watching it just to see her work.
She's incredible.
She really is. She really is. So I watched the whole 2 seasons again, and I even rehearsed the audition. This is my little secret. I even rehearsed the audition with the show in the background. So I'm an auditor. So when I was learning the lines for the audition, I had the show on in the background. So I was staying within the rhythm and the pace of the show, especially because I knew my sides were with Marty Bird. I put on a Marty Bird scene and kind of ran within his rhythm that was already in place and so solidified as Marty Bird. And Jason Bateman does such a great job at that character. And it's just so great because you know how Marty Bird is going to respond if you know the show.
Wow,
or
that's...
You may know.
Yeah, well, and that's amazing because earlier hearing that you play bass clarinet, and the piano, that sense of musicality, how that can influence your process as an actress. Like, that's amazing. Wow.
Every show has one. Every show has a soundtrack before the soundtrack is even added, and it's, Wendy is every season it's different. Ruth is that trumpet of the show. She's the heart of that. Marty's the beat. Laura's the melody, and it's such a beautiful sort of orchestra already in place. And just to listen to it and go, okay, where is Maya? What's that instrument? And so I tried to find where I would fit in it because I didn't feel like Maya was too different from me emotionally. And so I just went in the room and I was like, this is what I got. This is what I feel. And it was a crazy day. I had all my stuff prepared, and I've told this story so many times. Of like, I had my, my hair that I was going to put on, and, my face that I was going to do, and the right, the FBI gear, and the trains were delayed and everything was going on that morning. And I had to walk in the room, just go. And luckily it was right. And something about that tape. They were like, there she is. So I'm so thankful.
And I just love the work that you put in and the commitment. And, and as artists, ideally every audition we're putting in the work, we're working hard, but just the specificity that you talked about is really inspiring and a great reminder to just be that specific with the work.
Yeah.
And speaking of the work, who are some mentors that have helped you through this journey in the arts entertainment industry?
There's so many. I wish I could just pull some out of a hat so that I wouldn't have to pick. But my first show, straight out of grad school, I played opposite Lizanne Mitchell, and that was, to meet her right away. If you know her, it was almost as if God was like, "Let me put you in the hands of this person to guide you through this path." Surrett
what was
Scott.
the show?
It was called Starving.
Okay.
By S.M. Shepard Massat. It was at Woolly Mammoth Theater Company.
Hey, Woolly Mammoth. Yeah.
Oh, somebody gonna look that up and be like, "I know how old you are." I shouldn't have said it. Surrett Scott was directing it.
Love Surrett, yes.
And in that show, I had Surrett, I had Lizanne, and then if you know DC, I had Dawn Ursula. It was out of this world, the people that I was put into their orbit right away. My first year, I was in the hands of Timothy Douglas directing. I was in a play that was a Robert O'Hara piece, and I met Robert O'Hara on opening night. It was like the first year, it was like everything was just happening in step, in stride, and coming from a majority white undergrad, a majority white grad, all of a sudden being in the mix of Black royalty in the theater.
Yeah.
It was a roller coaster, and I was in front seat, and I was thankful for it. So a lot of those mentors happened along then. Robert O'Hara picked me up, and I was able to do a couple of shows with him, or writings of his. Timothy Douglas did the same thing. Surrett did the same thing. Surrett was the first person to pull me out of DC to do a show.
Wow. And I'll tell you, Surrett Scott, she directed me in Black Terror at NYU when I was at NYU. And I've gotten to work with her since, but she is an incredible director, and just a fierce is really the word that I think of. She's just so specific, and she will perform. She is a director that performs while she's directing. We say it again?
About stories?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure we both got stories of Surrett being like, you do it like you gotta act like you really want it.
She just had so many stories, and she always offering, and she has that wonderful story about, having go on for Color Girls opening night. She's just wonderful. I think another one who along my journey I met that I think was a 180 for me, seeing such a force on stage, was Linda Gravatt. She played Mama in A Raisin in the Sun, first time I played Lisa, and watching her work, I was like, oh, so there's no ceiling. You can just bust through that. You could just bust through that and do what you felt like doing.
Right.
You just let all that out there and you weren't worried about it.
Taking notes. Yeah, she lets it all out.
I'm gonna do that when I grow up. Yeah. So yeah, and the list goes on. I mean, I've been just absolutely blessed. Blessed. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And just to go backwards a little bit, what got you started in theater, into the theater world?
Well, I grew up in a household that was full of characters.
Yeah.
I was constantly impersonating everybody, including some other characters that I just made up. And depending on what I had on, I would go outside, I would change, and I would come back and I'd ring the doorbell, and whoever answered the door, they knew who it was based on the clothes.
Wow.
My brother would sometimes play. My father would sometimes play, but my mother was like, Shirley, and would get her glass of wine, and she pour her wine, and then she poured me some apple juice in a wine glass, and we talk about our husbands. And it was the beginning of improv.
Yeah.
And it was every day.
Wow.
It was every day.
That,
She was my Barbie. She was my TV. We didn't have cable. We didn't have like, I would see things so much later than all my friends would see them because my father just was like, you don't need all that stuff. Go outside and play.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was the beginning for me. But then, you know, you do little drama, you know, just little stuff at the school, like Black History Month show, and you say the poem and all of that. And then I'd say 7th grade was when I saw a drama club. It was called Colors at Charles Carroll Middle School in New Carrollton, Maryland. And I saw my people, and I was like, okay. So, and I went up to the head of the drama club, and I was like, how do I do this? And he was like, show up after school. And I was there, and that was 7th grade, and I graduated high school and was then teaching with them. But I was a part of that program up until right before I went to grad school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's that. I love that hearing that you would show up to your house as different characters. You would change your clothes and then go outside and then ring the doorbell. That is amazing because I've heard, you know, as with my friends, we would imitate, we would play, we would, you know, suddenly be Mission Impossible. But I didn't show up to my house as like, oh,
and I would Donna, I'd be like, hey Donna.
You call her your mama by her first name.
Because it wasn't me.
That is hilarious.
I'd be like, you crazy. But she was like, I don't know. You just, like, my mother is so dreamy. Like, she's just like, you just are always doing it. So I wasn't doing anything. But my mother had a job, and I was sitting there doing that while she was cooking dinner, you know, like, she was I say this all the time, when you see a little flicker of something in your kids, just because it's not the dream that might be what you see for them, entertain that flicker and then feed that flicker, because you never know what it might become.
Hallelujah. Yeah, that's to have that support system from that young age, to know that, like, yeah, I can play, and to now see where you are, you know, that it's a career, a thing that you can't do without, you know, to have that support is really, really beautiful and essential. What would you say in terms of, you know, having that support, what has been a big transition for you? I mean, transitions are definitely important in life and certainly in this career, but what do you think your biggest transition has been thus far in building the career that you have?
I mean, kind of what I was thinking of when you said 180, when you were talking about that, and that was deciding to leave home. I think that a lot of people come to New York after school or after, you know, different things, but it's the ones that come later in life, it's a little, it's just a different type of move. And I decided to leave everything that I had already built and been building behind. And I was teaching at Montgomery College. I had a position at Howard, teaching acting as well. I was working nonstop on stage. I was able to see my family on a regular basis and be within my home. And then all of a sudden, it was like, okay, wait a minute, but what did you say you wanted? And I had to go after that. And that was the moment when I moved to New York.
Tell us about, how did you determine this is my goal and this is why I need to leave?
You know, I think I've always been goal oriented. I'm such a Capricorn. I am the definition of a Capricorn woman when you look it up. Yes. And yeah, to all of it. And so I'd always had it, you know, always had it written out, you know, and every year was going to be that year. From the time I graduated school, every year, the next year I was going to New York. And this is how we're going to get there. And this is going to happen. This is going to happen. But in the beautiful world of art and beautiful world of being an artist, you start working.
Right.
And then you're like, but I'm doing exactly what I want to do. So then I would get a whole season, which in DC, it's a beautiful thing where, you know, those theaters cast their seasons. So by August, you know what you're doing until the next July.
Oof.
And so then it's like, well, I have that stability. I love my townhouse. I'm in the neighborhood, technically down the street from where I grew up. I'm working nonstop. My family, my friends, and everybody I grew up with can come see my shows. Teaching. I was like, what do I want? Why would I want more?
Mm.
And I was like, especially, I remember saying this to someone. I was like, why would I leave a paycheck to go search for a paycheck?
Wow.
And my friend was like, well, what kind of paycheck you want? And I was like, okay.
You got a point. All right.
Because I've done the hustle. I worked at Legal Seafood. I worked at L&N Seafood. I worked at the Rib Shack. I worked at the Craft. I worked at all of them. I was doing shows, getting paid $200 a week. You know, I was rehearsing one during the day, performing one at night, having 2 jobs, slinging ribs.
The only thing you didn't work at an Italian or Mexican place.
And so it was just like, I have all these jobs to pay all these bills. And I look at this one person who did this one commercial, and they just made $26,000.
Right.
And I'm like, and they said 2 words. But there weren't any national commercial auditions in DC. There weren't any shows filming in DC outside of Veep or, I think, and that was filming, in Baltimore. And then, a couple things were filming in Baltimore. And I was just like, what are you doing, Jess? Like, if you want to do this, do it. Or be happy. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity to just stay and be happy. But I think that we all have our own personal goals. And after I opened up to start doing the regional work and performing with people that were from New York. And I mean, like, literally, I would be the only person that didn't live in New York in the show. Wow. But it would be from directors that I met in DC, that would pull me out to do a regional show.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you got to do it. You got to do it. So every year I was going to do it. And then every year I would have a season. I was like, you blessed. Sit down.
Stay put.
And sure enough, Robert O'Hara called one night and was like, I just wanted to let you know that Booty Candy is going to Off-Broadway. And I was like, okay. Well, what's that mean? Like, what?
Right.
Why you calling me? Does that mean I'm in? Like,
right.
Like, what's that?
Cast? What's the year?
He was like, you have to audition. I just wanted to let you know.
Shady, Robert. That was shady, Robert. Don't you be calling people, letting them know the show is moving. But just so you know, you got to audition, but the show going to be there.
He said, you got to audition.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. Well, he was like, Lance and Philip have been with the show nonstop. They're going to be in. And I was like, of course they're going to be in. There's no Booty Candy without them, And sure enough, I went up to that audition in New York City. It was my first time going up for an audition.
Wow.
And I was like, this mine.
Mm-hmm.
I originated this. Had all of that with me, went in the room. I was like, there ain't no way. And I was like, it's time. Let's go to New York City. Hey. And I got that email that I didn't get it.
Whoa. I have to.
Message.
No, not. I got to press all up. What? Huh? No, this was the wrong one. This was. Okay. Anyway, that was really the one I was looking for. What? You didn't get it? I'm confused because I saw you in it. So what happened? Okay, so you got to share that. What happened?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So I didn't get it. And I remember sitting in the car. I was doing piano lesson down in Maryland at Oni Theater. And I remember looking at the phone for like 10 minutes. Like, damn, man. Like, I was so, in your heart, you're like, that was mine.
Yeah.
But I guess not. I guess it was for somebody else. And I went on to, in the business mindset that I do, and just was like, all right, well, let's figure out what we are doing in that spot.
Yeah, next.
Next. Keep it going. Don't keep your feelings in it. But my feelings were hurt,
Yeah.
And got close to getting ready to do the next show. And I was like, you know what, though? If I was planning on moving, I'm going to move anyway. Because I was planning on being ready to move if I booked that show. Like, I need to just go ahead and go. And by that time, I had moved out of my apartment 2 years ago already in DC because I was on the regional circuit for about 2.5 years nonstop. just going from theater housing to theater housing. And it was a blessed situation. But then all of a sudden I was like, I'm never going to do it if I don't just do it. And so I went up and I went to Larry Powell's birthday party.
Hey, Larry Powell. Shout out, Larry.
Shout out Larry Powell. And Chi-Chi invited.
Hey, Chi-Chi. Hey. Yes.
That's everybody. Because if you know Larry Powell know everybody.
Yes. And between Larry Powell and Chi-Chi, that's everybody. Yes.
And I remember being in the party, and I stepped up to Larry to say hi, happy birthday. He didn't know who I was. No, I figured he didn't know who I was. And I was like, I just want to say happy birthday. Chi-Chi invited me. You know, I love your work. So he was like, oh, okay, what's your name? And I was like, Jessica. He was like, Jessica Francis Dukes. And I was like, yeah. Oh, you are. You've been killing it on the regional circuit. And immediately I felt community.
Yeah.
And I felt like this sort of sense of belonging. And I was staying on my friend's couch. And 2 nights later, or was it that night? No, it was the next night because I was still in my party clothes. So it was the next day.
The next day,
Robert called me and was like, "The girl backed out. It's going to you."
Won't he do it? Won't he? Will? Won't he? Won't he? Wow.
But it starts rehearsal in 2 weeks, so you got to move up to New York in 2 weeks.
Well, my.
I was a vagabond the whole time. I was crashing on couches anyway, on purpose. Like I really, something I learned about myself. Everybody does this thing differently. I need to be free. I need to be able to move and bounce. And the way my life was set up at the time, I could. And so all my stuff was already in storage anyway.
Yeah.
I was like, I called Lance, who me and Lance were already tight. I was like, I need to sleep on your floor. And he was like, and I was like, bitch, because I want to be a booty candy. He was like, and we just out. And so I was sleeping on Lance's floor for the first 2 weeks. And then another mutual friend of ours was like, well, my apartment's available if you want to sublet it. And I subletted her apartment with an air mattress on the floor. Everybody bought me pots and pans to rehearsal.
Yes. I love our community. It's like, you know, we take care. It takes a village, truly. And my experience with the Black theater community is that we were always lifting each other up, helping each other out. What do you need? I'm a resource. I'm a shoulder. You know, so it's beautiful to hear that was a part of your journey.
And I am a product of this community because there's not too many people that you can ask that I haven't talked to that has offered me a place to stay, leads on housing, Airbnbs, or I think I even talked to you about a sublet one time. Like, everybody has reached out. Everybody knew I was a vagabond for a minute. And I was so thankful to, and I will say this now, I'm thankful to every single one of you. And I'm gonna get emotional, but I'm not, because I would not be where I am without the entire
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful to hear, and it's empowering to see folks continue in their career trajectory, and you know, get on TV, get on film, but also be able to acknowledge and appreciate and still support the community, the smaller theater community that they came from, because you learn so much through this community, you know. So I'm wondering, in terms of that transition from DC to New York, I think that's a powerful message right there, that like you kind of had a plan, you were kind of back and forth, you were kind of double dutch it with the plan, and then God said, we're gonna expedite this. So within that, did you discover, in terms of working on the project, so you were here working on Booty Candy, talking about that kind of business mentality, were you able to balance that focus on the actual work of, okay, I'm performing, and kind of inviting people, doing that type of show business aspect of it? Or was it first and foremost, I'm just going to focus on the show? Does that make sense, on the performing?
Yeah. No, I mean, you can't be in any Robert show and not focus on Robert show. So I thought it was going to be easy because I'd done it before, but the pressure of a show like Booty Candy
Yeah.
The amount of work that it takes, I couldn't focus on anything other than that during the rehearsal process.
And really briefly, I'm gonna let you, because some people might not have seen Booty Candy. Y'all need to check it out, find the script, see what you can. But it's a beast of a piece, because there's a lot of comedy, different styles of comedy. There's a lot of fun, crazy things that happen in that show, and playing different characters. So just wanted to give people a sense of the versatility and the flexibility that that type of show requires. You could tell the people more about the show if you want.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's like it's you can come to that show and think people just being loud and out there and just letting it go. But it's just as strategic as Shakespeare working on Robert's comedy. It has timing, it has rhythm, it has a certain give and take that everybody has. Like, it's like playing a basketball game where everybody has positions.
Yes.
And, that ball is that joke. And Robert is very specific. Robert said it every day. I remember one of my favorite notes that I get, I've worked with Robert 6 times.
Oh, wow.
Better not let a joke fall. And he makes it, and it's because it's written so beautifully that the minute you put your thing on it, get out of there. Like, it's a strategic thing that you have to build with your company, with your, that's why I love ensemble shows. Like, it really is like basketball, but until it's your scene, like until we can all sit back and watch Lance with that preacher moment. It's just, but even then, like, to him rehearsing each second of that, it's just brilliant. So so to be in that, I couldn't focus on anything else. But once we opened, I was freelancing with some agents at the time. And I said, look, this is my business game. This is what I want. I walked in the office.
Yes, you came ready.
Say, huh?
I said, you were ready. You said, this is my plan. Y'all working for me. Because that's really what it is. Some people think, your agents, your managers, they're working for you. So if you came in and said, look, this is my plan. This is what I want us to do.
Let me tell you something.
I love it.
But when they saw me walk in with Panera, I was like, here's the packet. Get you some coffee. We're going to be here. So here's the plan.
Yes, love it.
And I was like, this is what I see. This is what I would love to do. This is who I want to work with. This is where I want to work. And this is where I want to be.
Yes.
I don't know New York the way you do. So I trust you in making sure that I connect the dots and have the right dots. You put the dots down, because I'm still learning who the dots are. But we all know what this end game is. Yeah. So let's work together to connect them, and I lucked out with people that never felt like I was trying to do their job for them, because for the longest time, I was my agent. I was the one hustling, and I had that hustle mentality. So I expect anybody on my team to be like, what are we doing? And they were, and it's, I think with any agents, there are moments when it doesn't work, but that's with any of us, because Booty Candy was such a success. I got into so many offices. I got into so many, generals and all this stuff. And all of a sudden it was like, hello, New York, here I am. And then my ass left for 6 months.
And to do, I assume, a regional theater gig, or what? Why? Yeah.
Yeah. But I wasn't going to turn it down because it was King Hedley. And I was like, when am I going to have the opportunity to do King Hedley?
Yes.
At an arena stage? I got to take this.
Yes.
Another moment that I left was for the Scottish play at Actors Theatre of Louisville. And so it started to be that I only left for passion pieces.
Yeah.
Like, I left for Detroit 67 with Camila Forbes and Dominique. I mean,
yes.
You know what I mean? So you can see why I left in those moments.
Yes.
But outside of those, I decided to trust my agents and go, okay, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to sit. And that was a huge transition for me, going from work to fill the spaces. Not saying that I didn't love all the projects. I love doing art, but some of those art, pieces or those things that fill the spaces are to pay rent. Right. So all of a sudden I had to stop taking those things or even love things that you want to go out and things that you want to go. I'm a artist. I want to do this. I want to work with these people. And all of a sudden I had to say no to those things and sit. I had to say no to a paycheck for nothing.
Yeah. But your vision, your vision, which is,
message.
Your vision for your career was what you were sticking to. And I love that. And I love that you were able to honor that in your yeses and in your decisions to say no, because that's something I think, especially with the kind of lack mentality, we can, especially as artists, be like, oh, just any job, as long as I'm working, but if you have a vision for your career, a vision for your life, ultimately, then you're deciding you need to be clear on the decisions around, okay, I'm saying yes to this because, or I'm saying no to this because this does not fit in with the vision. So I love that. I really
also being okay with exactly what you want. And if that's what you want, if you are comfortable with just that, that is fine. Like, I look down on anybody with how they choose to live their art. But I've never wanted to do anything else. And I know, for me, it's going to sound dreamy and fairy tale-ish, but if you know me, that I love fairy tales, but I owe it to that little girl who knew that New York City was it.
Yeah.
Who dreamed, who was singing musicals around her room, at 6.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell me that I wasn't Tanya Pinkins. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't Heather Headley. Like,
yes.
Right. So that little girl, and I was like, no, I want to see how far I can go. And if you say that there's a possibility in this, and every moment that I decided to go with whatever transition was happening, with whatever 180 was, every moment that I allowed myself to kind of flow with the current, there were scary moments in there, but then on the outside of it, on the other side of it, it was like, oh, that's why I was supposed to do this. So, and I'm thankful in those moments, because in those moments where all of a sudden I wasn't going away and working, I got a chance to meet the community. I got a chance to do things like, 48 Hours in Harlem with you, and like all these people. And like, all of a sudden it was just like, it was the right thing.
Yeah.
It was hard, but it was the right thing.
Awesome. And I'm going to ask you, because I know when we talked before, you mentioned a professor who changed your life. And I just want to hear about that, because hearing your trajectory and the way you balance kind of the art and show business, because it is a business, how did that professor really influence you, and what does she mean to you?
I when I came to undergrad, I was coming from a situation where it was not a very mixed middle school or elementary school or high school. It was majority Black. My teachers were majority Black. And then I went to Frostburg State University up in the mountains of Maryland, where it was like 10% Black. Oof. And it was at the time where I got in, because I wasn't a bad kid, but I just wanted to do art. I just wanted to play make-believe. I was sitting in English with the script in my book, in my book, acting like I was doing work. And my parents just could not, they took me out of drama club, because they were just, you got to do something with these grades. I'm just like, I was Denise Huxtable. I was Denise Huxtable.
Yes, Denise, all over the place.
All over. And so luckily I got into college. And my first year, it was a new professor on board. It was her first year, and she was straight out of New York. This Italian woman named Nerzios Freshman. And I auditioned for the school, but I was, in that performing arts troupe, so I knew how to perform. That's all we do is perform. We do full-on shows. We got that, but plays, not so much. Acting classes, we don't know how to act, but I would perform down.
Right.
Put on Gladys Knight, watch me lip singing.
Right, I'm gonna act up.
And she basically said in the very first class, before she said anything, she was like, if you come to my class late, you're fucked.
Wow.
she was like, if you don't take this seriously, you might as well not be a major. Do not waste my time. And like, that's how she was talking to us before she even said hello.
Wow.
And I was like, I mean, I don't know who messed up your name, but the braids. I was in class eating Cheetos. I was
one
that
of them girls. You were that girl.
girl who knew I was good,
Uh-huh.
but didn't want to work for it. I didn't want to rehearse. Can we just do it?
Yeah.
I don't understand process and studying. Why we gotta study theater history? Like, can we just give me the script?
And she got you right together.
It was little bit by little bit. She made us a minor in marketing. If we weren't going to minor in marketing, we had to take her marketing for the actor class. She was very heavily on the business. She basically said to us, she was like, I don't care if you leave here and know how to act. You can go to grad school and get your further education. You're going to learn from every director and actor that you work with. Obviously, you can act, you got him. I care that you walk out of here and you know who you are as a business.
Wow.
And she said, I want you to be the CEO and the best damn janitor of that damn business. And I want you to fill in all the spaces in between. And she made sure that we left with a blueprint for the next 15 years. And then I used that blueprint and have been using that blueprint since till this day. I just wrote up a new 10-year plan based on this narrow transition.
Wow. I mean, that's beautiful. Do you still keep in touch with her at all?
Really just emailed her the other day because I'm going to talk to the students and just kind of give back, and especially in this time when they're virtually learning art, just to give them some hope and be like, hey, I know you in the mountains of Maryland, but you could be in the mountains of the Ozark soon. Just keep on. Or something, I'll think of something inspiring to say, I hope,
Yes, you will. You have said a lot inspiring today. So, yes, you got some inspiring things to say. And that was at Frostburg State, is that right?
Frostburg State University.
Wow. And what was her name? We lift her up. She's here with us, but what was her name again?
There's Yost Rushton.
Wow. Okay, I'm not even gonna try to say yes. It's a beautiful.
Wonderful. She was wonderful. She was hard.
Yeah, but sometimes it's those hard professors that like get you right there, and then you're like, okay, I understand why you were hard on me because I had to learn. I couldn't dilly-dally and play. I had to learn.
And I think she could see that. I think she could see everything that I hoped for. I think she could see the things that I see now. When she saw me, I think she said, I see a little bit of myself in you, but I was very misguided and young and doing all the things that, I technically think you should be doing in college outside of your studies. And I wasn't quite the best student. So she did double time, overtime, triple time, where her work it just didn't stay in the classroom. And I can't tell you how many times she pulled me in her office about personal stuff. I really don't. I don't know what to say to you, but this is what I'm gonna say. And it ended up being things that every year just like got me through. Like I wouldn't have graduated without her.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. So we like to close the show out with a quote and get your thoughts on this quote that I think is relevant to what we've discussed. So here it goes. You get a strange feeling when you're about to leave a place. Like you'll not only miss the people you love, but you'll miss the person you are now at this time and this place, because you'll never be this way ever again. And that's a quote by Azar Nafisi.
Not gonna get emotional.
No, please. I mean, share with us, like, because you've moved, you've had those transitions, you've moved. So who were you and who are you now? And how has that, how have those transitions affected you? And feel free to get emotional. You can.
Yeah, I think that what we do is a special thing. It's a special thing because we are constantly hopefully in stages of growth.
Yeah.
if we choose to grow, if we choose to do the work. I am currently in a stage, I feel another one, 5 years now or 6 years now after I've transitioned to New York.
Yeah.
My entire life changed. The people around me changed, except for my close, you know, like I've been best friends with my best friends for 20 years.
Yeah.
So that close circle hasn't changed, but you know, you don't have access to them. And definitely now, you know, in this wonderful pandemic, you don't have access to them. But I'm currently in another change now with Ozark and all the moments where you look at your life and you go, this is how it should look, and this is how I want it to look, and this is the dream, and this is it's gonna look like this, that, and that. It's not gonna look anything like you think it's gonna look.
Right. Mm.
And I'm so blessed to be on a show like that. But it is a huge transition moment in my life, going from living paycheck to paycheck. And going from, you know, just even in this transition that we're in. So right now, I'm about to move into a different part of my life.
Yeah.
And I think that I've never changed as far as who I am internally, but I've had to change in order to, what's the word? I'm glad we can edit this part. I'll just say I've had to change for each season that comes.
Yeah.
Because you have to grow. You know, I feel like each time the transition happens, I'm learning all over again. You know, I feel like I'm at the beginning of something all over again, and I'm having to learn all these new things all over again. And, you know, we don't shoot here, we shoot in Georgia. So I'm about to, you know, I can't say that, but yeah. So I spend a lot of time in Georgia, you know, like it's, as opposed to in New York with my friends. Like if you think about it, for me, I was in Georgia for 6 months, came back, did a show off Broadway really quickly, and then pandemic. I really haven't seen my friends in a minute. So it's like, it's just so many things that I think transition brings. And it's up to you to just like hold on to the things that are your core and hold them tight, you know? Like I said, I don't think I've changed, but I've grown with the seasons.
Awesome. Beautiful. So we want to thank Miss Jessica Francis Dukes for being with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Of course. And I want to make sure that folks stay connected to you. So be sure to follow Jessica on Instagram at Jessica Francis Dukes. Is that you on Twitter as well?
Jessie F. Dukes.
Jessie F. Dukes on Twitter. And look out for her on TV screens. You know, there's just things in the works. And I'm going to say, we're going to manifest right now, the King Hedley II. You're going to be in that movie because it's going to be a movie. So, yes.
That's one role that I would love to put back on again. She was hard, but I'd love her.
Oh, yes, I see that. I see that in the future. I see it happening. So thank you so much. And I look forward to staying connected and seeing the wonderful growth and the new transitions that come with your career. So thank you, Jessica.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Absolutely.